Okay, cool.
All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation podcast. I'm Kevin, and joining me today, Elijah, right here. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. We have Mr. Jason Smith. How you doing today, sir?
Good. How you guys doing?
Oh, doing pretty good. Doing pretty well. Just hanging in there, hanging in there. And of course, Mr. Christian Nacorda, Godfather of Toys. How you doing today, sir?
I am ecstatic. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I mean exhausted. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, doing fantastic. I'm excited. It's a Halloween season. It's time for a horror season. Listen, some of us horrors just like it's just all year round, but this is a good time of year you can actually talk about it and not look like a complete weirdo. So that's what we're going to be. I know. Some people just aren't going with that. But hey, you know what? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to be talking horror. We're going to be talking about Saw X, which me and Elijah had a chance to see. We're also going to be talking about The Exorcist Believer. And then we're also going to dive into we're all going to talk about horror in general. Kind of, I like to call it a horror origin story, right? Like what made you love the genre? If there's a specific movie, a specific time in your life, video game, whatever it is, we're going to talk about that. Oh, why you love it or why you hate it. Like either way, it could be a love-hate relationship with the genre. So it could be a number of different things. We'll be talking about that stuff in a few minutes here. But as always, thank you for joining us. Thank you for checking out the show. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're checking it out. Give us a share too. Give us a share. Kind of gets in front of more eyes, and we really, really, really appreciate that. Before we get started, I did actually want to bring up something. So some of our good friends over in Utah put on a horror film festival every year. It's called Horror Fest International. It takes place this year. It's taking place. Let's see, and of course, I lost my page here. This year, it's taking place the 18th through the 21st in St. George, Utah, at the Electric Theater. I've never been. I haven't been able to go, but I've been dying to go. If you guys are over in Utah or want to check out a really, really cool film festival put on by some really, really cool people, definitely head over there, check them out. You could just go to horrorfestinternational.com online and get your tickets if you're interested. If you're over in that area, go check them out. Like I said, some really, really cool people running that over there. They always have some really, really, really great films, some really great indie horror films, some pretty big films. So their lineup is all up on their webpage, or is up on their page right now. So definitely go check that out if you guys get a chance. Highly, highly recommended. So just want to give them a shout out. They're always really cool, really nice people over there. So definitely go check that out. So let's just dive right into it, Elijah. Let's talk. So I kind of have this thing where it's like I said, we did watch Saw X and The Exorcist Believer this past weekend. If you went back into a time machine and told me, even 5 years ago, you were like, dude, there's going to be a new Saw movie and there's going to be a new Exorcist movie, and you are going to go watch them both on the same weekend, but you are going to love the Saw movie. The Exorcist movie is just going to be okay. I'd be like, nah, man, that's not possible. How is Saw going to do anything different? How is Saw going to get out of this little bubble that it's been in for all these years? And how can The Exorcist be bad? It's a sequel to The Exorcist, a legacy sequel. It could be cool. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about Saw X, because I actually really, really, really like Saw X. I thought Saw X was great. It's not particularly like, it's not going to make my top 10 overall movies of the year. Maybe it might, who knows? But as far as horror movies go this year, certainly one of my favorites. Like, it's actually really, really, it might even be my favorite. I don't know for sure.
You've said that a lot this year.
What?
It might be your favorite.
There's a lot of good movies this year. There's plenty. Yeah.
No, there was.
But yeah, so Saw X, the review's up at Pastrami Nation. Go check that out if you haven't yet. But I give it a 4 out of 5, solid 4 out of 5. It does some really, really cool things with it. And the basic, I talk about basic plots. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but basically it takes place between parts 1 and 2 of the movies. And it really focuses on John Kramer, who's Jigsaw. And we've seen flashbacks of his journey, right, throughout the movies. We know he has cancer. We know that he's got this, he's trying to figure out how to survive. Doctors have screwed him over. Numerous people have screwed him over. This one really, really dives into that. The first, what would you say, 45 minutes or so?
Yeah.
It's like this really, I look over at him halfway through the movie. I was like, this is like just a depressing drama. I guess just about this older gentleman who has cancer.
Soap opera.
Yeah,
we
pretty
didn't
much.
sign up for.
Pretty much. And like you see him kind of going through the motions, trying to figure out, he's at the end of his rope, trying to figure out how to survive, how to cure this cancer. He's going to support groups and all these things. And so anyways, he finds this, this experimental company in Mexico are doing this experimental treatment that supposedly works. He goes down to Mexico, gets the procedure done. But it doesn't go as planned, and they essentially screw him over like hardcore. He's not the first cancer patient that they've taken advantage of and taken their money and ran. So that's kind of what kicks things into motion. It kind of, it's because it does, take place after the first one. So he's already in that Jigsaw mindset. So it's not really an origin story, but it gives you a better idea of who Jigsaw the man is, who John Kramer the man is, as opposed to the other ones, something we've never really seen before.
It's not just a gore fest.
It's not just a gore fest. Like the first, like I said, 45 minutes, you almost forget it's a Saw movie at times. To like occasionally they'll throw, like you'll get a couple little traps in there for good measure. You're like, oh yeah, this is Saw. But then, once it gets to the trap, it just kind of goes. Like it starts off, does a drama thing, and then you're in Saw territory, and then you know exactly what you're going to get. I think this is the first time too we've really seen Jigsaw like up close and personal with the people in the room. Like he's like there with them. Like he's not, hiding in the background. He's not just recordings, all this stuff. He's like there talking to them. So that really put a cool twist on it too. Amanda, she comes back, she was his apprentice, and she's really great. You kind of get the more of their relationship and who they are. And in a weird way, it turns Jigsaw into the protagonist. Like Jigsaw, you're actually rooting for Jigsaw. You're like there
a
with
lot
him.
More than the first 9.
Oh yeah, because the first 9 you kind of can see his justification for what he's doing in the first 9, but you're not particularly rooting for him, because you're like, these people, you don't know these people's backgrounds and stuff. When you watch this, you're like, every single one of those people deserve to die. Like you're there with him. You're like, all right, like I can see this is going to happen, and this is why this needs to happen, and it's a good thing it's happening, because these people are the bottom of the barrel of humanity. They're taking advantage of sick people and taking all their money. Like there's nothing. I mean, there's
no redemption.
Yeah, there's no redemption, and it was just really well done, and I really, really enjoyed it. And as for a series, it's been 10 movies in to do something that just kind of flips the script a little bit and does something unique and different. They tried to do that with Spiral a couple years ago, which I really enjoyed. I thought Spiral was
pretty good.
Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson, I thought they did a great job.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. But it feels like they just kind of like, I don't know if the studio was happy with it or what, because that was supposed to be the start of a new kind of era for Saw. But they just went back to the well and did kind of the same thing, but not. Like they had a good enough story to change things a little bit and to make it different and stand out from the rest of them.
But you definitely did.
Definitely did. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. Eli, what did you think about it?
It was better than Exorcist Believer.
Yeah.
Better believe it.
As well as many of the other movies that came out this year, whether it be horror or not.
Yeah.
Well, considering that this is a year that 2 franchises released their 10th movie in the series, if you had to compare, I know it's apples and oranges, but if you had to compare Saw 10 to Fast 10,
I haven't
Oh,
watched Fast 10.
Oh, I thought you guys saw that.
But
Okay.
I honestly cannot tell you. I think the last, I'm not even going to lie, I've seen bits and pieces of everything else. I think the last Fast and the Furious movie I watched was Tokyo Drift.
I've only seen up to 5.
I know I'm working on it. I know they're supposedly they're really fun. Like I know I need to get back into it. I just haven't kept up with it as much as I want to. I don't know. You guys watching, listening, let us know what you think. Saw X, Fast X. Which one do you prefer? Which one do you think is better? So let's talk about The Exorcist Believer. So it's not, I wouldn't call it a bad movie. Like
it's definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like I don't know, like critics are like tearing it apart. Like it's like being like, it's like you would think it's like the worst movie ever created. It's not.
It's
I think
pretty good. It has a good script. Like it isn't cheesy or anything.
No,
like
it's not.
Like some of these horror movies are.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that does that though, so this movie comes from Mr. David Gordon Green, who pretty much divided the internet when he did his Halloween trilogy a couple years back. I feel like this was kind of a reaction to those movies. I think people were already kind of rooting for him to fail. I think people came in claws out and were ready to attack. Were ready to pounce the second the movie came out because of his Halloween trilogy.
Oh boy, Evil dies tonight.
Yeah, Evil. So I honestly have super mixed feelings on the new trilogy. I think 2018 is fantastic. 2018 is amazing.
2018 was scary.
Kills was horrible. I hated Kills with the passion. I thought Ends was really good. I thought Ends was great. I thought Ends did something different. It kind of it had the Halloween 3 effect, right? Like it was kind of separate. It stuck to, Halloween 3 is kind of a different thing, but it was more anthologized, right? It didn't have Michael Myers. Halloween 3 didn't. It was the Season of the Witch. It had the masks. I really love that movie. I think that's one of the best in the franchise, to be honest. Halloween Ends is kind of the same thing. You have Michael Myers, you have this stuff happening, but you have Corey, right? Mm-hmm. Corey, the new kid who everyone thought was going to kind of become the new Michael Myers because he was kind of leading up towards that. Nope. But I really thought Halloween Ends, I thought they did a really, really good job. And I know the internet's going to hate me for saying that, but I think it's great.
The only good part of Halloween Kills was that opening sequence where Michael comes out of the burning house.
Yeah, that was cool. Halloween Ends was just on a whole other, or Kills was on a whole other level. But I think that that's part of why people were ready to pounce on Exorcist. I have my problems with it, but it has nothing to do with David Gordon Green or the filmmaking. It has everything to do with its connections to the original Exorcist and the use of one of the characters from the original movie. So we have Ellen Bernstein returning as Chris, the mom from the first movie. But she's really only in it for like 10, 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
She's not in it a whole lot. And I kind of feel like they used her character as a Band-Aid to fix a story issue that they had to
sort of like
do something
Gale in the new Halloween movies in a sort of way.
Yeah, the new Scream.
Oh yeah, Scream.
Yeah, kind of like that. Like she just kind of seemed like a wasted opportunity. I thought if it felt fairly generic though, right? Like it didn't feel like it had to have the Exorcist name to it. Like it could have been any generic exorcism movie and it would have been the same thing, right? Like you didn't have the Exorcist name tied to it. It didn't feel like The Exorcist at all. It felt like I said, just another random horror demon possession movie. So that was kind of my thing with it. I love the original Exorcist is one of the, in my opinion, not just one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but like one of my favorite movies of all time. Like it's just, it nails every aspect of what it's trying to do. Beautifully shot, like well acted, like it's terrifying too. Like that movie terrified me when I first saw it. Like, obviously years ago when I was younger. This one, it wasn't like it. I was hoping to get nightmares from it. I didn't even think about it an hour later. I was like,
that good, huh?
Was this the year that Russell Crowe Exorcist movie also came out?
Yeah, the
Did you
Pope's
guys see that one
Exorcist.
too?
I did not see that one yet. That one's actually on Netflix now, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Pretty
I do
good
want to
movie.
watch that one.
You, Jason, you saw it?
Yeah, I like that
Okay.
one.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd love for you to watch The Exorcist Believer to see if you could even differentiate. Like,
I was
you
supposed to
know,
go this weekend, but didn't happen. You know,
yeah,
stuff.
and
I
and
need to. My brother saw The Nun that just
oh
came
yeah,
out. Like, what they said that was really good.
oh that's cool. Oh, I didn't like the first one.
No, they liked it. I saw the first one. It was all
Yeah,
right. I mean,
eh, eh,
it's
We
not
should watch
Exorcist
the
level, you
first
know.
one and go watch the second one.
we could. But yeah, no, I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's great. I don't think it's anything like you need to rush out to theaters to see. If you happen to be there and you're like, huh, what should I watch? Like, not a bad choice.
I would say if you're going to watch like a Halloween specific movie, like either watch Saw X or wait for later in the month and later in the year where like more slasher movies are gonna be coming out, like more Halloweeny movies are also gonna be coming out and more spooky.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of great things to choose from right now. There's a couple other great horror movies that are out or that I've heard are great. The Nun, Arturo says the Nun was good. I do like the Conjuring series. I like the Conjuring series as well. I like the main Conjuring movies. The first two are great. I think
Oh yeah,
as far as the Annabelle movies go, I think Annabelle Creation and Annabelle Comes Home are really good. I didn't care for the first one.
What about La Llorona?
La Llorona was
you
don't
didn't
even,
like that one.
what's that?
You didn't like La Llorona.
No, I
I
just
thought that was good. I thought it was cool seeing Tuco as a priest too. Tuco
yeah.
from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah. That's yeah. No, yeah, I couldn't do it.
It didn't scare me like I
didn't
wanted
scare
it
me.
to.
And that was the problem. That was the problem for me. It's like it's supposed to be, we all grew up with the story, right? Especially if you have any Hispanic heritage at all. The scary story. It's supposed to be terrifying. And I watched it and it didn't scare me at all. Like I was just sitting there like, when is something going to happen? When is something scary going to happen?
I think the scariest part on that for me was probably the beginning when she grabs those kids when it shows her like actually drowning them. I thought, okay, this is leading up to, and then I was kind of underwhelmed. It was a good movie, but it was like I didn't get scared either, you know?
Yeah. La Llorona was, see, I don't even Arturo like that. I'm Mexican too, man. I grew up like with those folklores and stuff like that, especially with my grandma, she was
Oh
very
yeah.
into those kind of things. It was scary when the pool scene. Yeah, no, more power to you. I didn't get scared. Scared the crap out of me as a kid, though. Like I'm still scared of like the legend still scares me.
Oh yeah.
My
grandma told us some stories and like those were scary. Like
yeah, it's essentially the weeping woman out by
yep.
she drowns her kids and yeah, it's just that's why whenever we go camping or something too, even though we're not anywhere near there, I'm like, that's scary. I don't want no weeping women.
Yep.
Be terrifying me. Yeah, looks like we lost Christian, but he might be back. We will see.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. So what score would like give out of 5? What would you give Exorcist?
2.5.
That's exactly what I gave it to. So I have the reviews coming up, Pastrami Nation soon. I gave it a 2.5. It's not bad. It's not horrible. It's not great either. It's just kind of like more run of the mill. I give it 4 out of 5.
So would I.
Yeah. Exorcist just felt like more the same run of the mill kind of stuff. So definitely go check them out if you guys are out there, checking out movies. Highly recommend Saw X. Again, Exorcist. If you're there, check it out. It's not going to kill you. So yeah, we think about that. Cool. All right. So let's talk about horror. We just talked about some pretty good horror movies out right now. We talked about the original Exorcist, which was kind of part of my kind of being raised on horror movies. But Jason, let's talk about you.
You want to know what scares me, huh? What kind of movies? What horror movies?
Yeah. So let's start. Let's start little Jason. Let's go to little Jason. He's like,
Yeah. Little
No.
5-6-year-old Jason.
Yeah, no. Like, do you remember so first, do you remember any moments watching horror movies that were maybe you were too young to be watching, or like you shouldn't have been watching, or do you remember those kind of moments, any of those moments where you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Boy,
so
howdy, do I remember those. Like, I don't know why 6-year-old, 5-year-old me was allowed to watch American Werewolf in London,
oh,
Silver Bullet. There was a movie that scared the crap out of me. It was a Bigfoot movie called The
mhm.
Legend of Boggy Creek.
Oh, I remember
And
that one. Yeah.
yeah, a good movie, but like now it doesn't scare me. But like as a kid, it frightened me because my
Mhm.
grandma lived in like country part of Riverside with a lot of trees and stuff.
Right.
And oh, go play with your cousins, and I didn't want to go play with them because I didn't want to bump into Bigfoot. And then all of a sudden, like I see werewolf movies, and that just really took it up a notch. Silver Bullet was the first one I saw, and because I mean I had seen the black and white, Lon Chaney one, and creepy, but it's a black and white werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Um, Silver Bullet was the first one that truly scared me. I was like 5 when I got to see it, and I don't know why. And then just amp it up 2 notches when American Werewolf in London comes on TV, and my dad lets me watch it with them. And oh boy, that fucking subway scene, like, oh my god, that's still one of the scariest scenes. And you don't really see the werewolf that much in there, just the way the camera is done, where
Mhm.
that guy's like, I assure you this is the least bit funny, and then like because he hears that growling, then all of a sudden you see it from the werewolf's point of view as it's going around the corner, and that's when this guy is like looking down like, oh shit, and starts running. Like that still gets me, that scene.
No, absolutely,
So
100%. I hear you.
werewolf movies, like, those two have been tough to like. I don't think any werewolf movies have topped that because those are the ones that scare me. Like
Yeah.
different ghost
I'll
movies and
be right
stuff.
back. I gotta
Oh,
go
go
buy
ahead.
a werewolf costume.
Oh, cool. Gonna scare the crap out of me, huh?
Yeah.
You have hidden money.
But yeah,
Um,
it's like those just I don't know, that kind of stuff freaked me out just because it could be out there or whatever. Or
Mhm.
werewolves and Bigfoots were always the number one contributor to my nightmares back then as a kid.
Mhm.
And those two movies, London and Silver Bullet, still the top 2 scariest werewolf movies. And just recently, I saw a Bigfoot movie called Exists. It's on Amazon
Oh
Prime
yeah,
now. Yeah,
yeah.
that is to me it's the best Bigfoot movie out there, and that has one of
Mhm.
the scariest like scenes I had seen in a movie. The bicycle chase scene, like oh my god, like wow.
Yeah, I think I remember that one. Yeah, actually that's funny because that's the same that was directed by Eduardo Sanchez, who also directed the Blair Witch Project.
Yep.
Probably makes sense why. Yeah, I know it's found footage and everything too, kind of like that style.
Yeah, he knows how to scare the crap out of you. That's for sure.
Gosh, he did this other great movie too that I'm trying to remember what it's called. Um, well, let me see if I can find it. But it's not found footage, but it's I think it's oh yeah, Altered. It's basically like it's just really weird. It's like a movie, right? It's not found footage, but basically these aliens they come down once a year and abduct somebody, right? And this group of guys, their friends got abducted. One of their friends got abducted. And they never really saw him again. So the guys stuck around the area. So they come around this area every year. One year they came back and they kidnapped the alien. So they basically abduct the alien and like torture the crap out of them. And it's just really messed up, like almost like Saw style. Like they're like torturing this poor alien. But again, they're like abducting people and doing who knows what
If
with
they
them.
Yeah,
abduct
they're probing them.
you want to do that?
Yeah. So yeah, it's actually a pretty cool concept. I actually really, really liked it. It came out years ago. But yeah, no, I get you on the werewolf movies, especially like London is so good, like American Werewolf in London.
I don't think I've seen that.
We haven't watched that yet.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, that was really good. That was really good. Christian, let's go back to little Christian, just like I was telling Jason. Like Christian's like this big.
I got
Oh, we're doing that. Okay, sorry. I was gone for like 5 minutes because my
No, I know.
computer's retarded.
So,
Yeah. I wasn't, I think rightfully so, my parents didn't allow me to watch horror movies growing up because they saw me not handle very mundane things well at all. So they're like, yeah, this kid's not gonna. Like to me, one of the scariest things from my childhood, Michael Jackson's Thriller, man.
Oh,
That
boy.
like this is before Michael Jackson was actually scary, like because Michael Jackson was my hero. Like growing up, I wanted to be Michael. Like now, I also wanted to be Michael Jordan, but before that wanted to be Michael Jackson.
Well, that shares a lot of DNA with Jason's pick. I wasn't the Thriller was John Landis too, right? Yeah, who also directed American Werewolf in London.
Oh, that's true.
So a lot of the effects and everything from Rick Baker, if I'm not mistaken, was a Stan Winston. No, I think it was Rick.
No, I think that was Baker Studio.
Yeah, Baker Studios. Yeah. Very similar style.
I had an incredibly overactive imagination, and my parents clearly saw that at an early age. So like I didn't grow up Disneyland. I grew up Universal Studios. So Disneyland came a little bit later in my childhood, but like because my mom worked in downtown LA and like a lot of her friends were in LA. So Universal Studios. So like the Universal monsters were things I was aware of. Also growing up in the 80s was the big boom of like all the, horror movies, Friday the 13th. So I was aware of all of those things. But like I remember one Halloween, my cousin had a Freddy glove. I couldn't fucking handle it, dude. Like I cried, and my parents were like, "Yeah, what is happening?" Can I tell you this? One of the things that terrified me as a kid was the depiction. I'm going like way off. And growing up in a Filipino household was the depiction of Jesus on the cross. Just terrified me, right?
Really is terrifying. It scared me too.
It's a terrifying image. So like I would emotionally react to things. So like if I would see it, I'd be like, oh my God, like I was a child that was afraid of Jesus. And I know my parents were really upset about that because they named their son Christian and he has like a phobia of Jesus. I literally remember.
Devil are you?
I know. So I remember they took off because like every Filipino household has like a Jesus on the cross, like it's so morbid. But anyway, they took it down and they're like, I want you to look at this and I was like, ah! And they had to like chase me around the house. And I still remember this to the day I was like 5, like chasing me around the house with Jesus. And I was crying, screaming. So
I need to build a time machine and go back and see that.
I know. I just think it's everything in my head was like, I remember my mom taking me to Sears. I was afraid of everything. She took me to Sears to get my photos taken. And I remember seeing just darkness and a red dot. And I was like, in my head, it was this giant space laser. And my mom took me to Sears to kill me. And I was like, well, I thought you loved me, Mom. I thought you loved me. And the lady was trying to get me to stop crying. I was 6. And then my mom was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a shit. Take the fucking picture. So my 6-year-old Christmas pictures are like it's in my blue Oshkosh Bagosh outfit.
Oh, boy.
So I don't really have much of a history with horror movies. Long story short.
I hear you. So I listen, growing up, right, it was the 80s, right? So we had all these things happening, right?
I'm sure your brothers have some things to say.
About all the stuff that I showed them.
Yeah.
That I introduced them to. So like when I was a kid, if I was to tell you the truth, I think I heard about like it's so weird how these kind of icons, these horror figures enter pop culture so intensely that like you even know who they are before you see the movies, right? Like I know before I saw a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, I knew who Freddy Krueger was.
Of course, yeah.
I knew who Jason was before I watched. Before I watched Friday,
I knew who Jason Voorhees was. I knew who Michael Myers was. Like I knew all these kind of boogie monsters, these boogeymen, because that's what they were, right? Like they were boogeymen more so than movie characters. Like they were real. Like Freddy Krueger was real. Jason Voorhees was real. All these things were real.
Jason used to freak me out when I see commercials. Like I just remember seeing one that says it's going to be Jason's lucky day, and it scared the crap out. I was like 5,
Absolutely. No, and I think so. Like I remember, I think one of my first horror experiences that I can recall was actually it was Jaws. Jaws was the first one that actually scared the Jesus out of me. my grandma will never fail to tell me and my sister the story of my parents taking us to go watch Jaws at the drive-in for some reason. We went to the beach that weekend. Me and my sister both would not get off of our beach towels because Jaws was going to get us. And that was the first, like, and I don't even remember that, but I know that happened because, you know, there's evidence and witnesses that say that happened. But I think, you know, horror was just kind of something that I was looking at some old pictures and I found this birthday cake for my first birthday and I was 1981. So like this is super early. It was a clown birthday and the cake was terrifying. Imagine 80s terrifying clown.
Sort of like Pennywise.
Toppers.
Like the first Pennywise.
Kind of just like the most, you know, think Disneyland during like the 60s, right? Like how terrifying their costumes were. Think about that, but like with clowns and on a cake, it was just terrifying. I was like, I always joke that that's my horror origin story right there because looking at it now, I was like, that's terrifying. If I saw that in someone's wall in their house, I'd be like, I hope this child is still alive.
Can we take a second and talk about that? Because why was that such a normal thing in the 80s to have clowns as a theme for children's decor? Like my childhood room had, like, I don't know why my parents thought that was a good idea. Clowns everywhere. I would fall asleep. And it was just like a clown, like a lady, like just there, like so.
It is.
It's ingrained in my brain. And thank you, 80s.
And I know at some point along the line, I saw Exorcist when I shouldn't have. I know, like, just the imagery of that movie scared me for such a long time that I was terrified to ever watch it again. I actually didn't even watch it again until it was re-released in like the late 90s in theaters. Me and a friend went to go watch it, and I was like, "Oh, like this isn't that bad," but it was scary at the time.
I think we've talked about this before, but is that your childhood inappropriate movie? Like the movie that you saw way too young? Is that?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I remember seeing like a Child's Play, like I was like 6 or 7 somehow, and I used to have one of those My Buddy dolls, and that My Buddy doll went in the closet and never came out.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't have that guy. I put him in the closet. He was stuffed away. And for some reason, so we used to have just random VHS tapes of random movies, you know, growing up, right? It just happened. When I lived in the high desert, when I was, 11 or 12 or whatever, for some reason we had 2 movies on VHS. We had a Friday the 13th. I think it might have been 6, and we had Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child. I think it was part 4. That movie to this day still terrifies me because I remember that movie was the scariest thing I'd ever seen at that point. It's the one where the girl's pregnant with possibly Freddy's baby. It's just really messed up imagery. It shows the glove coming out of her stomach, like, kind of like she's giving. It's terrifying. And so this day, there's also a shower scene, like the shower, the stand-up glass showers. There's a scene where like it won't open and it fills with like blood and the girl drowns in it. And that used to, every time I saw those glass showers anywhere, I would not go near it. I would never take a shower in them. I'm an adult now. I can do it. I can handle it. But before, it used to scare the crap out of me. But I think like I really, really started to love it in probably like the early 90s, like 92, 93. My grandma was actually huge into Stephen King. She was also big into
that's cool.
crime, like shows, right? So like one of the first shows that I ever really started watching, I think it was 93, 94. It was
Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries was another one. Unsolved Mysteries was horrifying. I also had things like the X-Files and things like that. So yeah, the X-Files was really big into it too. Unsolved Mysteries. But I really feel like true crime stories was my entrance into horror and actually why I started to appreciate it a little bit more. There used to be the show called Homicide: Life on the Streets. I don't know if y'all ever saw it, but it was a really, really good show. It was on NBC. It was kind of like in line with like Law and Order a little bit more, but like it was gritty. It was dark. It took place in Baltimore. It was like really gritty. It was The Wire before The Wire. Actually, the same creator of The Wire. He went on to
crazy. That's cool.
So he created Homicide first, then he went on to create The Wire. So I kind of had the same vibe. That show showed me things that I probably should have ever seen, but I saw it anyways. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. I read, it, and I read all these books that my grandma let me read. Started reading a lot of Stephen King, and I really started to just gravitate towards the genre because it kind of inflicted a reaction out of me, right? Like it scared me. Like it was just really cool. To me, it was the psychology of it. Like it was really cool how something so simple can inflict these emotions inside of you. So I just thought that was always fascinating. And that's why I still love the genre today. It actually helps, believe it or not. I've been reading a lot of studies and stuff. It actually helps with mental health. Like mental health and horror is such a because you're living these anxieties and these traumas with other people, but you're not going through it. So like you could kind of live vicariously through them. And once you kind of come down, you have your adrenaline rush, you have your anxiety, then you come back down and then you relax and you can breathe again, stuff like that. And that's kind of how mental health works, right? Like that's how anxiety works. Except here you have a reason to be anxious. Like, why you're anxious, what's going on screen. You could kind of justify it more as opposed to not knowing what's happening. Anyways, interesting study. But yeah, that's kind of my horror study. And it's still one of my favorite genres. Like it constantly delivers, and there's so many subgenres in the genre, right? So there's there's horror comedy, there's horror action, you could basically make any genre into a horror movie, which I think is great. You could do a horror drama, horror Christmas movie, a horror Halloween movie. Like you can have all these things, and yes, you can do them with other genres too, but I feel like not a lot of them mesh as well with they aren't as transparent. They can't go, mix so many different things at once than horror can, in my opinion.
I kind of want to try and make like a horror cyberpunk like movie.
That'd be cool. So Eli, what is your horror origin story? I know that, but like, can you think of any particular? It's just, do you remember the first horror movie that we watched?
I can't say horror movie, but one of the like earliest, like not really horror, but like scary things that I can remember is like, for some reason, watching you play Lollipop Chainsaw.
That wasn't really scary as much though.
No, but it like zombies and all that.
Yeah. Well, we've never really shielded you away from that stuff.
True.
So like we're the cool parents, okay? No, but like legit, like we've never really told you couldn't watch anything, or like we've really always kind of left it up to you guys.
Yeah.
Right. Like now that you're getting older, I think we're getting better with like, I want you to watch these movies with me, especially if you're in film classes and stuff, right? Like a lot of horror movies are classic movies too, so they're important to watch. Especially with what you're looking at doing and getting into. But yeah, what movies scared you the most that we've watched?
That's tough to say. I can't really think of the one that scared me the most. I really can't.
What about games? Hoskinson?
Oh, don't.
Have you guys played Resident Evil Village?
I've seen it. I've seen my brother play it, and it's creepy as shit.
Yeah, there's one house in there, Hoskinson.
The second house.
The second house that is absolutely. I played it when they were all out at the in-laws for the weekend, and I was home because I had to work. I got home that night. I put on the game. Or no, actually, no, I think I had the day off. So I was playing it during the day at like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. The lights were still on and everything. It still like terrified me.
The only reason why I played it is because we made a deal. If I could get through the whole game before like the end of summer deal had ended for like the best edition of Star Wars Battlefront 2, I could get it.
Battlefront 2, yeah. So he played through it. I didn't think he was going to be able to survive, but he did. It's just so creepy, man. You go in this house, it's dark, and there's this thing chasing you. This what is it? It's like a
It's like an amalgamation.
yeah, it's like this
I
weird,
can't.
disgusting thing that's chasing you through this dark house, and like you have a flashlight, and you're just flashing it, and you just see it pop out of nowhere, and you have these little dolls.
And the worst part is it looks like a giant like flesh ball that looks like a baby for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Pass.
Yeah, no, it's creepy, but it's fun though. It's a fun game. Resident Evil Village, gosh, it's an amazing. It's really it's not really long either. It's
No.
short. It's like 40 hours maybe.
It just
Maybe 40,
depends on
45.
how completion you want it, like
Yeah.
how much completion you want to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, video games have had the scare factor. Like, I still remember the Resident Evil 2 when you walk by that
Oh, yeah.
interrogation room, remember, and you walk by it again, that liquor comes out of the glass. And you guys played, I'm sure Kevin and Christian, you guys have played Shadow of the Colossus, right?
Oh yeah.
There's one Colossi, because you got to go find these giants. It was one of the smaller ones. It was like a tiger, but that was creepy as shit because I had to run to the water to get away from him, and he's like stalking me along the water. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, I haven't got this kind of chill in a video game in a while.
Yeah, dude.
My brother told me, just die.
Evil Within. That was another one. The first game. I still haven't finished it because it just like it traumatized me. That game.
Is there on PlayStation Plus by chance?
I think it might be on PlayStation Plus. Did you play it, Christian?
I like about 10 minutes of it. That was a gift. A gift. I say. I struggle to consider that a gift. But thank you, Daniel. But yeah, it was horrific. We played it for about 10 minutes, and we were like, does he even love us? Like, what is this? Like,
dude, the opening is just like terrifying when you're running through like the slaughterhouse and stuff, and like you have the guy with the chainsaw chasing you.
Yeah.
I was like,
we were like, why is this what Daniel was like? Dana and Christian would love this to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate our dear Lord's birthday in heaven. Dear Lord, may we see the horrors of this Evil Within. Yeah, no, I wasn't. I don't mind horror games. I love like the thing about video games, it has that like added in interactive storytelling.
Yeah.
That just makes it way more terrifying. You're just enveloped in everything. So like Dead Space, I 100% like platinum that, man. I was obsessed with that game, but oof, that game was horrifying. And then you just get into it, and then I feel like I have like I get into that mode in video games where you play it too much and you start like, what I'll do this when I play Assassin's Creed too much. Like I'll be driving and I'll look at walls at a red light and like, you just jump up on that, go up on the side of that wall, like
Me too.
corner, like
That's
you're
me with Dead Rising. Like everything I see is a weapon.
Exactly. You start scaling everything. Everything is like the video becomes real. So it's like that's like to me the danger of the horror game, because like my mindset is that now. So like when you're playing Dead Space and you're like stomping like zombies and like, you know what I mean? Like repeatedly for like
there's something that I always do now because of games that I played is before I fully turn around a corner, I always try and peek to see if there's
cut the pie. It's the military thing of you cutting the pie when you come around the corner. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
except
never just turn the corner.
Except for like sometimes there are these rare odd chances that like there are these like big nemesis type dudes that just like bust through the walls for no reason at all.
Yeah. The Last of Us. God damn. Yeah. How did I not even bring that up? Kevin and I, we both just played through both of the games earlier this year.
I'm playing through the first one.
Dude, how far are you on the first?
I'm in the hotel basement.
Oh, that sucked. God.
I think I made it through though. I think I'm like right after the basement.
Because there's that big old bloater at the end of that. Man, that sucked. But yeah, I love that game.
Play the Peter Jackson King Kong game on the Xbox 360. There's because you could go back and forth. You're the gorilla, and then you play as the human on some part. Well, one of the human parts, you're on a raft in the river, and there's a scene where like 2 T-Rexes come out, and they start stalking you along the river. You got to keep poking your little fire spear because, like, just I don't know, something like the point of view it is this big animal just coming up and getting next to you. I'm like, that's kind of creepy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Can I say one that isn't a full game, but a game mode in another game?
Hmm.
So, in Star Wars Battlefront 2, Ewok Hunt. Okay?
Yes.
It sounds innocent until you remember that you have to survive 10 minutes in the dark night of Endor as a stormtrooper where like your visibility sucks and you just like either you post up and camp somewhere with a bunch of like other people or you just keep moving and even then you're not even safe because these little things can come out of anywhere and everywhere. They will hunt you down and kill you.
That was kind of creepy. Ewok. Oh my. Battlefront 2. I played the shit out of that game.
That was just a fun game, and the graphics were gorgeous in that game. I loved
Oh
it.
yeah. Battlefront. I remember I reserved it at like GameStop and you got like the biker scout figure with the sniper rifle. I'm like, woohoo!
Scout
Count me
Trooper.
Oh
Hmm?
man.
The Scout Trooper?
Yeah. Exactly. Now, Kevin, I like you mentioned about the My Buddy thing, and you put them in the closet. Reminds me of my brother and I shared rooms when we were kids, and for some reason, my dad got him one of those big. I think you know those big animals you win at
Oh, yeah.
carnivals. It was a really fucking life-size gorilla named Clyde, and it looked really realistic. And for a kid who's already afraid of Bigfoots and stuff, okay, let's just give
Oh,
it to
yeah.
his older brother to put in the room. And like he sat that thing right in front of the closet, and I'd wake up at night and there's Clyde staring at me, the most
Oh, no.
realistic gorilla face. Well, Clyde ended up going in a bag in the garage because it scared the shit out of me because it was like a 5 foot tall stuffed gorilla. I'm like, okay, cool. Get this
Jeez.
little fat kid that's afraid of Bigfoots, and you give his older brother a big stuffed lifelike gorilla. I don't know
No.
whatever happened to Clyde.
Yeah.
I was 92, Excalibur, Las Vegas. We were about to leave. We were just on our way back. We were at the end of the Vegas trip, heading back to California. We're leaving. I'm walking through the arcade, like 10 years old, 9 years old. Some grown man was like, "Hey kid, do you want this?" And he had a big fucking stuffed dragon. 9-year-old me, of course. I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." So I'm dragging it around the casino. I find my dad and I'm like, "Dad, look." And he was like, "What the fuck?" Like he was so mad. And I'm like, he was like, "You won that?" And I'm like, "No, man, gave it to me." And I was like, he was already in a bad mood. Dude, we barely like we was the four of us plus my grandma and a Honda Civic. Right. So we had like all of the luggage and the five of us, and now I have this another human person. Right. And my dad was like, "No." And I was like crying and crying and crying. So we figured, I don't remember how we did it, but we got it home. Fast forward like a year later, there's a movie called Three Ninjas that comes out, and I'm fucking whoa. So I kicked the shit out of it, like so excited as a little now 10-year-old me. And now the stuffing has gone everywhere in the living room. And I'm just like, after I just kicked the crap out of this dragon because I'm so worked up, my dad comes home right then. Of course, like a dog just ate the couch. And I'm standing there like, "Hi, Dad." And then like, oh my God, dude, I've gotten in so much trouble. And like, I had to relive the nightmare of taking that dragon home. That's my big stuffed animal story.
Nice. Fatality.
Oh, man. All right, cool. Well, that was fun, guys. You guys have anything else you guys wanted to bring up real quick?
Cyberpunk is an amazing game now. Go play it.
You heard him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, let us know what you guys have been playing. Let us know what you guys have been doing. We love to hear from you. Just go ahead and leave a comment on the video, on the webpage, on the page, wherever you're at. Thank you all for joining us tonight. That was a really, really fun. And as like I said earlier, check out Saw X, check out Exorcist if you're in the mood. You don't have anything else to watch. Where can they find you guys online, Christian?
You can find me at Instagram, you can find me on TikTok, and you can find me on Facebook at Christian Nacorda. Come find me.
Yeah.
Me, Jason Smith at myspace.com. You can be my top 8.
There you go. And you can find me, Kevin _Hoskinson on those as well. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of the fun fun places. You can also find me on Twitter, X, whatever, Twitter. The artist formerly known as Twitter. Who knows? I
X,
don't
yeah,
know.
I can't get used to that.
Yeah, it's never going to be X. I don't know what
No.
Musk is. I mean, Musk's an idiot. But anyways, whole conversation for another time. Hope you all have a good day. Hope you all have a good night whenever
Good
you're
luck
listening
with
to
whatever game you're playing, and when you go and watch a horror movie as well.
this. Yes.
Yes.
Have fun. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll talk to you guys next week. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.